dreaming of a beautiful dress for my birthday party. I wish there was a fairy godmother out there who could just give my dream dress to me. Or shall I sew one for myself? Must not be that difficult.
Segíthetek neked, hogy elkészítsem a születésnapi ruhádat, és közben pedig elmagyarázom neked ennek a lépéseit is.
Köszönöm szépen, ez fantasztikus lenne!
Let us get to know the fashion designing steps. Most textile design starts with ideas, dreams, and then an illustration or sketch follows. Watch this short video on how patterns are made from sketches. Another sketch is the next step, the technical sketch for the garments to be made. Here the designer can use computer-aided drawing software known as CAD. CAD software is used to make very precise two-dimensional or three-dimensional illustrations. By using this technology, it's easier for the designer to make changes and modifications. The next step is to create a technical package for the garment. When the fashion designer is dreaming of a new idea, then draws it on paper, that idea needs precise measurements of the model, details about the chosen fabrics, and of course the sewing process. This pack contains the details and specifications for construction. There are even people called textile colorists who specialize in consulting on color trends and effects. Textile designers also decide on how large the design will be and the number of repeats, how many times the design is printed on the fabric. Sometimes, to vary a simple pattern and make it more interesting, designers may create half-drop repeats, where the design is repeated but placed halfway down on the pattern from the one before it. Watch this video. This leads the eye through the pattern in a more engaging way. When all data is chosen, then it goes to the sourcing agent or developer so they can make plans for fabric and trim options. When everything is fixed, then the pack goes to the factory and fabric sourcing. Now we get serious with the next step, sourcing. The designer needs a factory where the garments can be made. All the suppliers for trims, fabrics, labels and packaging are needed to finish a product. We move on to finally make a sample piece, now with the sampling phase. The samples are made prior to the factory production to check if everything is well with the tech pack. If not, then the designer has to make some modifications on the tech pack. When the sample is ready, then we go on to the fit and review step. Here the designer carefully examines the sample to make sure if it is ready for production. When the designer approves the sample, it is ready for the design approval step. It is time to double check all the details and make sure all is well. And then we come to the end of the production step, where the garments are made by factories. The ready garments then travel to the distributor and find their happy owners. Now let's see where waste is produced in the clothes designing process. First, the sample piece comes with leftovers and the garment itself isn't used in retail, so it is waste too. Then, during production in the factory, when the garments are made, leftovers are thrown into the bin. Most fashion companies buy fabrics seasonally for their collection, specific prints and colors. The fabric is bought in only the required amount, but there will always be fabric leftovers as they don't repeat the same collection. On average, 35% of all materials in the supply chain end up as waste before a garment or product reaches the consumer. Researchers estimate that even with conscious effort, leftover fabric could only be reduced to about 10% of materials used. The bigger the production run and the bigger the garment, the more likely it is for leftover waste to be generated. Most of this waste fabric that only remained in small quantities and couldn't be resold to a fabric resale store would go towards the landfill. Here, natural fibers can take hundreds of years to decompose, and synthetic textiles hardly decompose, releasing toxic substances into the environment. 1 trillion tons of clothing are produced all over the world nowadays. The leftover materials are not often used for making clothes, rather they are being dumped. Generally, it is 10–30% that are fabric leftovers. There is a new way to solve this problem. The small scraps are shredded by companies that turn them into insulation, carpet padding, furniture lining, moving blankets, etc. Recently, even a punching bag company reached out to use fabrics for stuffing their punching bags. There are programs made for designers to help reduce textile leftovers so they can work with the minimal waste possible for making new garments. You can read more about zero waste fashion here. But many fast fashion factories want to maximize the amount of clothes they produce, so they even cut the fabrics not alongside the grain line, the V of the fabric, which direction the threads are running, which results in poor quality garments that will tend to look crimped. This is all done to make more profit.
Can you find garments in your wardrobe that are not sewed properly and show signs of inappropriate design? Now let us experiment a bit. Imagine you're a fashion designer and you're designing t-shirts. You're planning to make the maximum number of t-shirts from one sheet of fabric. Your task is to place one pattern as many times as you can to maximize the production. First, you need to draw a t-shirt pattern on a blank sheet of paper. There is a sample for t-shirts if you need one. Cut it out and place the t-shirt patterns on the bigger sheet of paper and see how many times it can fit. Use all the space on the paper. When you are ready with the positioning, start to trace the pattern. Then cut out all the little t-shirts and collect your waste papers. Pause the video to try yourself out. How many t-shirts could you make from one sheet? Did you have any paper leftovers after cutting all the t-shirts? Compare it with the others. Can you think of way to reduce the waste? És mi lesz a kis darabokkal, ami megmarad az anyagból?
Hát minden egyes porcikáját felhasználjuk neki, mert én egy zero waste tervező vagyok. A legkisebb darabokból készítünk patchwork-el kisebb használati tárgyakat, ezek lehetnek kis terítők, nagy terítők, felhasználási területén egy kis babaruha, azoknak a kisgyerekeknek, akik elveszítették a kisfogukat, cserébe viszünk nekik egy színes anyagokból készített kis ajándékot, és a legtisztábban tartott, legvékonyabb hulladékokból pedig kitömjük például az elkészített kis babákat.
Hú, hát akkor te tényleg nagyon környezetbarát vagy. We went through the conventional clothes design process and saw some ways for eco-friendly design. We understood that the leftover materials can be a huge amount worldwide and it can cause harm to the environment. Can you think of some ways to use the leftover textiles? Some ideas for you. Make small bags, or a fabric coaster, or doormat, or patchwork quilts. Watch these videos for inspiration. We are glad you have spent a little time with us and we could show you the two sides of the clothes design process. We hope we got you curious about sustainable fashion. And ta-da! My dream dress is ready for my birthday party. Thank you, Fairy Godmother. Let's meet in the next video. Bye bye!